and then there was a homeless problem where people were allowed to settle on the streets of California. Now what's happening is in the immigration, again, law, as you know, anybody, whether they are illegals, they are breaking the laws of the country, they are here illegally, and the ICE was planning to deport them. And if Trump hasn't acted in time, invoking Title 10 of the U.S. Code and to federalize the California National Guard. Again, these are not American military; these are California National Guard soldiers were activated, taken over by Trump, and sent to them to create peace. And my fellow
no, but hang on, Dr. Chalil. Look, yes, you sent in the guard, but many people will say that's a violation of the spirit of federalism. That's what Modi is accused of by the Americans constantly. So, I mean, please, let's call it what it is. This is also a form of authoritarianism. Trump is no angel sitting in the White House. He may have an opinion on everything. He might think he's an angel. He might lie to the South African president. He might lie to the world about his prowess at broaching, ceasefires between antagonists.
But no democracy is safe without law and order. No democracy is safe without the borders. So if you let
no democracy exists without dissent either. So
correct.
So that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying, Dr. Chalil, look, you might be somebody who agrees with Trump, but I have a real problem.
No, not just me. The entire American.
With the U.S. state under both Trump and Biden, both, even when Trump was in office. The last time around, the American State Department was lecturing India. I'm asking you, has America got to the point where it can no longer point a finger at others without 5 or 6 or 8 pointing back at it? That's the question I'm asking you. Who are you?
I would agree that there was double standard in the past.
In the past,
India,
it exists
America
even now.
was.
Would you admit that America has fallen off, has fallen off the map when it comes to being the torchbearer of democracy and freedom of expression? Admit it. Come on.
But freedom of expression is not burning cars. Freedom of expression is not hurting police officers. Imagine, the protesters. I can see from the images on your screen that they are holding Mexican flags.
No,
they're holding Mexican flags and burning American flag.
So you're allowed to burn the American flag, aren't you? I mean, that's the problem with the law. I mean, so if you are, then what's the problem?
Trump wants to change that. Trump wants to change it.
Well, he wants to change it. That's a different matter. If the law exists, it should be upheld. They should be allowed to burn the American flag. Burn it.
And they are protesting on behalf of Mexico. Looks like they are holding Mexican flags.
So what?
So if people are doing it in India, if the Pakistani
this is where the problem is. This is where the problem is. Today you have an individual who is backing Trump very selectively. He's saying Trump is upholding the law, but the law says that you can burn the American flag. So what's the problem? I don't understand.
And the governor went to court, and the court declined to intervene. So it's showing that there was no emergency injunction on activating the National Guards. There's a hearing tomorrow. So even the most liberal courts in the country in California are siding with President Trump.
Then tell me, Dr. Chalil, was it wrong of the Trump and the Biden administration to come in here and try to meddle in our internal affairs? Has India spoken about what is going on?
I would agree with that. I would agree that America should be minding its own business and not interfering in other democracies.
Well, I'll come to.
But that is not the case here.
I'll come to Mr. Critchley, and I hope that he will agree with you. But I want to open this up further. Sanju Verma is raising her hand. Ayer Mitra is there also. Sanju Verma, yes, you're the government you're the BJP spokesperson, national spokesperson of the BJP. There's an insinuation that is being made here that I drew a parallel between Modi and Trump. How do you see that? Do you believe I did?
First and foremost, Rahul, being the national spokesperson of BJP, I will have to choose my words very carefully.
True.
And, as they say, discretion is the better part of valor, and I will choose to be discreet today, though that is not one of my strong suits. Let me just say this. Whether we like Trump or we don't like him, the fact of the matter remains that Trump coming back to power in 2024 is the greatest political comeback since Grover Cleveland. The fact is he won the popular vote, he won the electoral vote, he helped the Republicans secure a bigger majority in the House of Representatives, He helped the Republicans secure a brute majority in the Senate. That is all out in the public domain. Now on the other side, you have California's Gavin Newsom. He actually signed a law in October 2024, and at that time I was in the US. And I remember there was a huge outcry. He actually said that if anybody in California's local government seeks an identity proof from anyone who wishes to cast their vote, then that will be deemed as illegal. So basically, not only did Gavin Newsom advocate open borders, he made asking for voter identity proof as illegal, and rather than an illegal immigrant who should be arrested, he said that the federal or the state or the local government who asks for proof will be put behind bars. He was basically pandering to the baser popular instincts. But I want to just focus on one thing, and this is very important to your debate, because I will not get into this Trump versus Gavin Newsom, Democrats versus Republicans. The fact of the matter is that 20% of Indian Americans live in California at about 9.25 lakh odd. But, only 56,000 people, as in 56,000 Indians live in Los Angeles. They make up for only 1.2% of the population. Whereas, Rahul, more than 500,000 are Muslims. And they are Muslim immigrants. And I'm not going to hold back my punches. And, that should tell you a story. It is not Indians who are out on the streets. It is not just another random immigrants who's out on the streets, burning cars, looting, vandalizing, attacking policemen. It is radicalized Islamist immigrants who are at more than 500,000 in Los Angeles alone. Just look at this. The white population in Los Angeles is 37.3%, black at 8.5%, American Indians 1.2%, Asians excluding Indians 12%, and the rest are Muslim immigrants. So I always say, you look at Birmingham, you look at Leeds, you look at large parts of suburban United Kingdom, you look at Sweden, you look at Denmark. It is radical Islamist immigrants who are wreaking havoc, and that is the issue.
I don't want to color one particular community by religion and single them out for blame. That's your prerogative. I'm not going there with this. I'm only looking at a very simple and straightforward binary. Can America today lecture the world, Mr. Iyer Mitra, on the basis of what we're seeing?
Look, America is going to lecture the world irrespective. That really doesn't matter, you see. The question, of course, is why when we lecture other people, they don't take umbrage to it. Why do we take umbrage to what every Tom, Dick or Harry anywhere in the world, I don't care if it's America, if it's Liechtenstein, if it's the Vatican, says about India? Number one. Number two, remember, Los Angeles has a storied history of riots. There were the 1992 riots, when the Rodney King lynching, whatever it was, happened in those days. You've had riots through Donald Trump's first term. Remember the Black Lives Matter riots, essentially to protect criminals. You've also had the left, Democrats specifically, essentially support the lots of riots through negation. They were invited, for example, to condemn the vandalization of Teslas and things like that a few weeks back. I suspect for the last 2 weeks and for the coming few months, Elon Musk is going to be a great Democratic hero ever since he fell out with Trump. But till then, none of the Democrats, Pramila Jayapal was asked very pointedly if she condemns the vandalization of Teslas. She refused to do that. So, this is part and parcel of America. It is part and parcel of left-wing politics throughout the world. The American guest is quite right when he says it's a small fraction. The issue is all riots are carried out by a small fraction. There are no riots that are not carried out by a small fraction. And yet, when it politically suits somebody, the left or the right, the actions of the small fraction are immediately blamed on everybody else.
True.
Now, you remember what Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi did during the Chauri Chaura riots when the police station was burnt down in some 1932 or 1926, I forget when. He called off the entire independence movement at that time because he took moral responsibility for it, right?
Well, so did Martin Luther King.
They've come really far now,
Yeah.
where you had people of the moral standing who would take responsibility for the actions of their fringe radicals, to now where the actions of the fringe radical are immediately blamed on the other side. Look, you're responsible for your own actions. Who's rioting today on the streets of LA? I think people have forgotten in 1992, the National Guard again had to be called out with Humvees, machine guns on Humvees and things like that. This is not new. You remember, Rahul, how the Black Lives riots mattered. The people most affected in it were their own people, and the same logic that you heard was the Pakistan logic. Oh, Pakistan's the biggest victim of terrorism, so we couldn't have done it. Right? So this is a standard left-wing textbook. This is how they operate. The right wing operates through coups. That's a different matter. They'll just, the military will just go in and take over control and things like that. But this is how the left wing operates. This is how the left wing operates throughout the world. One template fits all. There's nothing you can do about it. And
so let me ask you then.
Realize the most iconic.
So the state then is within its rights to put this down.
Absolutely. I commend Mr. Trump. This is exactly what we should have done during the Shaheen Bagh. Look, people have an absolute right to protest peacefully and not inconvenience other people. Your right ends where my nose begins. The moment you start inconveniencing people, the use of lethal force proportionately is absolutely justified. What Trump has done is very good. I salute him for it.
Yeah, and viewers, remember, for domestic consumption here, those people who were taking certificates from America at that time and saying, see, this is how they would have done it in America, today can look at these. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan, before I bring in Mr. Critchley. Yes.
No, very quickly, couple of points that I'm sure the panelists following on from me would like to comment on. Number one, you remember those truckers protested in Canada a couple of years ago when Trudeau was the Prime Minister, and what happened? It was quelled with a force that was unheard of even in developing countries. And that was a democratic or so-called leftist or liberal if
Their
at
bank
all.
accounts were seized. They were debanked. Yes.
And the same guys in India who were commending the actions of Trudeau then were the ones who were supporting the illegal farm protesters blocking our highways in India for more than a year. So this hypocrisy is everlasting. It's not going to end. But I just want to talk about those people who are saying, look, a minority of people are fomenting this trouble. So do you mean to say that the millions of people who elected Trump the first time over and the second time over, did they barge into the White House on January 6th, or were they also minority? Because there must have been millions, judging by the way you blamed every right-winger for the insurrection.
That's right. That's exactly what I was saying. That's exactly, you see, it's all elastic. But let me ask you, you see, what has ended, Dr. Ranganathan, to be honest, and Mr. Iyer Mitra, is America's moral authority.
Am I actually going to get a chance to respond?
I'm coming to you. I'm asking you the question. What has ended, just a quick one to Dr. Ranganathan, what has ended is America's moral authority. That's what I believe. It's burning there on the streets of LA. So let me ask you, and let me rephrase it, Mr. Critchley. Let me rephrase that. Can the USA credibly project its values on the rest of the world? We don't want this.
Is this a question for me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, look, first of all, I want to express my shock, frankly, at the comments from the BJP spokesperson. And if this is a spokesperson for the BJP, I
don't need your certificates. Please keep your certificates to yourself.
I'm amazed to think that the BJP.
Do not get personal with me. No, I will not allow anybody to get personal with me.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Do not get personal with me.
I will not be spoken
I will not allow you to make personal remarks.
Sanju Verma, 1 second, you can respond to him. Let him finish. You can respond. Hang on. Now, you said a lot. So let him finish his point. No, that's fine.
So,
yeah, you can say that. You can say that once. I'll come back to you. We are not running away from this debate. This is going to be.
No, because
it's already a trenchant debate. So let's just give him his time, and please, I'll give you yours to respond. Yes, Mr. Critchley.
So I think there's some wide agreement here that Donald Trump's behavior, in my opinion, is terrible, and I think many of the other panelists would agree that it's at least problematic from time to time. And I think they would agree that if the United States claims to we all agree that if the United States claims to stand for democracy, we have to take a hard look in the mirror if we'll do things like elect somebody like Donald Trump and countenance this kind of behavior by him. The commonality, I think, here, not just between the United States and India, but across much of the liberal democratic world, is that people are abandoning the principles of liberal democracy. And again, America has to wrestle with its own role in this and turning towards authoritarianism. And authoritarianism, in almost every case, is fueled by the exploitation of ethnic nationalist hatred. So to have a statement from your ruling party's spokesperson that the problem that we're seeing in Los Angeles is somehow caused by Muslims and that it's Muslim extremists doing this just strikes me as rank bigotry and extremely irresponsible. And to follow it up with a series of statistics that highlight the white population in Los Angeles, which is a minority, is also an example of exactly the sort of thing that I would hope India would be ashamed of, the same way I am ashamed of Donald Trump and his exploitation of exactly the same
false equivalence, but nonetheless, yes.
Now, I think that the match, there's also, it lines up very well. There was reference to Russia as well. This lines up with Putin as well. Now, I agree that America has had a history of tending to lecture other nations, and often, it's been too easy to point to our own failings, whether it's in civil rights or elsewhere.
I mean, you're a country preceding Trump that didn't allow black or, African Americans, which was the polite term you invented about 30 years too late, or 40 years too late, or 50 years too late, or 60 years too late. You didn't allow them in the same bus as the whites.
It was 100 years too late after the Civil War.
Whatever. But the point is,
so one of the strengths of the United States is that we can still be self-critical.
The point is, viewers, I'm sorry, sir. I'm really sorry. There are no strengths. You go and ask the African Americans even today, and you will see how the Constitution, the laws of America, are actually weighted against them. You know this, Mr. Critchley.
This is why
that hasn't changed. That hasn't changed, despite America being this so-called liberal bastion of democracy for, at least in the modern era, 100 years. Viewers.
May I please come in?
Anyhow,
this is unfair.
Yes.
I have been waiting for this.
I do want to make a second point here.
Yeah, okay.
No, you cannot have a free ride.
Okay, let her come in before you go to the second point.
This is unfair. I refuse to be a part of this debate.
Sanju Verma, make your point, and I'll bring him back in. Yes.
Let me make one thing very clear.
Yeah.
Spencer Critchley is the man who was saying Kamala Harris is the next thing after brown bread, and Americans should vote for her. Today, Mr. Critchley has a nice big fat omelette on his face. And let me tell you, you keep talking about your chemistry professor, Kenneth Clegg, who passed away last year. He was from Brown University. And you say that, I hold Kenneth Clegg very dear. So let me tell you that Kenneth Clegg is on record saying that radical Islam is one of the biggest problems in modern world. And let me tell you one more thing. You might disagree with Sanju Verma, the BJP's national spokesperson, but let me tell you what the United Nations said. The United Nations is on record saying that 9 out of the top terror organizations in the world have a radical Islamist DNA, from Al-Qaeda to ISIS to Boko Haram to Hizbul Mujahideen to Hezbollah to Jamaat Dawa to Jaish-e-Mohammed. So Mr. Critchley, you are putting to shame your idol, Mr. Kenneth Clegg. Now, are you going to say that Mr. Kenneth Clegg was wrong? Your chemistry professor, who you idolize, who said that radicalization and radical Islam and immigrants pose a threat to modern America? That is what Kenneth Clegg said. Now you tell me, you disagree with him?
I'd like to respond, but I'm afraid I actually could not understand anything you just said. You were yelling so loud.
Oh, really?
Oh, come on. Really? That's a low blow.
Really?
Mr. Critchley. She may not speak the Oxford accent. Excuse me. She may not speak in a southern drawl, or may not speak with a New York accent or what have you, but that's immaterial. That's racist, actually. That is racist. That is racist. You can't understand someone who's speaking English. Hang on. Go to Scotland and you tell me when people speak in Scotland. No, that's very wrong. I'm sorry. That is, if you please answer the question.
Rahul, I started comment.
And I said she was yelling. People can yell in any country in the world. And it is hard to understand
Let him
how
respond.
they overwhelm.
Let him respond
If you yell so
on the
loudly-
Clegg point.
If you yell so loudly, you
Okay.
overwhelm the audio
Right,
system, you
right.
cannot be understood.
Right.
It has nothing to do with an accent. The other point I want to make is straw
You're
man
a senile
arguments.
old man.
If you depict,
You're a senile
if you
old
depict
man.
your opponent,
Okay,
if
let's-
you depict your
let's-
opponent,
You are a
Okay,
senile
please. Let's not descend
you
into
blame
this
your
personal.
opponent-
No, hang on. I'm going to call
man.
this off. This is not going anywhere. Please.
You're a senile
Okay, please. Sanju Verma and
Senile old
Mr.
man.
No, hang on. One second. Let's not. No, come on. Let's not personalize this to the point where we're talking about the tonality of a person, and the other side is talking about someone's acumen, etc., etc. I'm not going there. This is not the style of this debate show. We can have strong disagreements. We can use adjectives to undercut the argument, but not the person. That's not allowed. And I'm not going to take that. And I'm going to move on now, viewers, because there has been also violence. There has been violence in Bengal. Once again, viewers. Yes, just soon after Murshidabad, a mob clashed with the police, ransacked vehicles and injured several personnel, turning the Rabindranagar area just a few kilometers from Kolkata into a virtual war zone. The police fired tear gas shells to control the situation. The incident occurred following a clash between two groups of people over a local issue. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritties of it, viewers, because it would become problematic. And quite frankly, even I'm cowering, because the response of the Mamata government will be to send me a legal notice. That's the style. I've already had 6. So I'm going to speak in metaphors, and I'm going to speak not in specifics. You'll have to read between the lines. One group confronted another demanding they evacuate allegedly encroached temple land. I think you know where I'm going with this. The confrontation turned violent with miscreants engaging in stone and brick pelting. I use the term miscreants, viewers. A bike was also set on fire. The incident took place outside Rabindranagar police station. That's right, under the nose of the police force. Under the nose. The rioters were so unfazed that they even targeted the police. One police personnel sustained injury in stone pelting, targeting the cops. The BJP has alleged that the police was partisan and refused to act to stop a mob from targeting one community. To your left, viewers, is what happened in Murshidabad. Sorry, on your right is what happened in Murshidabad on April 12, 2025. Just like then, in this present case today, Suvendu Adhikari, the leader of the opposition in Bengal, has said this blatant assault by the 100 of jihadis on our religious places cannot be tolerated. What's astonishing is that the incident happened at a stone's throw distance from the Rabindranagar police station under the watch of IC, Mukul Mia, and SDPO, Kamru Jaman Mola. The police simply couldn't block the vandals, and the entire episode happened in the presence of police, unquote. The TMC slammed the BJP for injecting a polarizing communal dynamic, turning a local dispute into something much greater. Listen.
देखिए ये महेशतला जो इंसिडेंट है वो